At the close of World War II, returning soldiers were looking for ways to overcome the dreariness of the war. Using old cars which may have been considered fit for the junkyard, they repaired and then began racing them. The events were used to show off their cars and the ways in which the cars could be handled. Autocross was born. Autocross events are still held all over the world to this day. Like many road racers, my next guest got his start in autocross. He's an accomplished road racer and newly appointed ChampCar board member. His name is Tyler Pedersen. I'm Paul Veltum, and this is ChampCar Jive. All right, welcome everyone to ChampCar Jive. Special guest this week is Tyler Pedersen of Yankers Racing. Tyler, thanks for taking some time out of your week and spending some time talking to us a little bit about you and Yankers Racing. So obviously you've been racing with ChampCar for a little while, but tell us a little bit about how you got started in racing, kind of the beginnings to where you are now.
Yeah, so thanks Paulie for having me, appreciate it. So I started back in cars when I first got a car, Eagle Talon, 1995, automatic, and I started tinkering around with it a little bit when I was 16. Kind of went away a little bit, went to a Honda Civic after that. So yeah, in 2009 I had this 2005 Subaru STI. Met up with a whole bunch of Subaru people that said, come check out this autocross. I said, sounds great. So went there, got the adrenaline rushing after my first run going through the cones. I was lost, I didn't know what I was doing, but finally found my groove within that year. Caught the bug and did 2 full seasons of autocross in the Fort Wayne region. So,
and then you went from that to, it wasn't long before you were somehow running the solo, solo event.
Yeah, so I go to my first autocross in 2009. I think in mid 2010 I started running the solo series there in Fort Wayne. So I jumped with 2 feet in like I always do with everything. So yeah, I get caught up running the whole series, and then we put on a lot of events. I think the biggest event we did was 212 cars at Grissom at the Hoosier Challenge. So that was a huge event. Everyone got 6 runs, which is unheard of at a big event like that. And so that was just a lot of fun doing that. But I was always wanting something more. I wanted something more than a 60-second run. And so that's where I took the 2005 Subaru STI and went to Putnam Park. That's when the road racing bug hit me, and it's been all downhill from there. So,
so you went out there, you did some driving, and then you found ChampCar. It was, I think, the next. It was then ChampCar, but that was the next race you had.
Yeah. So I did the track event. Had a great weekend with it, and then just kind of put it aside for a little bit. And I was just looking for the next track event to go to. I was prepping my 2005 Subaru STI, and all my autocross buddies saying, we want to do this whole track thing. You ever heard of Lemons? I said, no, what's Lemons? So go online and look at it, and I said, hey, we should do something like that. So one drunken night later, we're looking on Craigslist for a car to race in Lemons. We found a Dodge Shadow, an earlier Dodge Shadow, a 90s Dodge Shadow, that was ran in ChampCar back then. We started talking to the sellers, and they said, hey, you should check out ChampCar and do that instead of Lemons. So we looked at ChampCar and said, this is more of a fit than Lemons. So we ended up purchasing that Dodge Shadow. Automatic, I think it was a 3-liter Chrysler motor in it, and we were off and running. So
right, you guys went to Road America with it?
Yeah,
first race?
Road America 2012, fall race. We went, so it was an automatic, so we put a manual transmission in it. We got a used clutch and pressure plate, which is a huge no-no now that I've learned that. Brought up like 2 transmissions, and I had an SUV, open trailer. We piled all the spare parts that we could in the SUV, and then the car. Painted the whole car to look like a PBR can. I mean, it was a theme car at that point, and yeah, we really enjoyed Road America, but it was a lot of teething issues. I think we got literally probably 4 hours on the track racing, and everything else was in the pits, working on the car. So
Right. And I kind of wanted to talk to you about that. I know you guys hate that car.
Oh, that car is terrible. Later on, when we saw it running in ChampCar, we said, man, we hope that thing like burns the ground or something. I would never wish that on anything, but we had such bad luck with that. I'm like, I never want to see that car ever again. And it's still running around, so.
And it's for sale. So Tony's trying to sell it, so you might be able to get the car back.
I don't want that car back. I do not want that car back at all. So, yeah, it was. That was definitely the advice I have for new people getting into the series is get a car that you know how to work on, and that like 2 or 3 your buddies know how to work on. Because that's the most important thing. We had one guy that knew how to work on a Dodge Shadow. Everyone else was like, well, we can just hand you tools or whatever. And so that was really the big thing for us is, from the Dodge Shadow then we went to the Subaru.
Right.
We had a lot of people who knew Subarus. I knew how to work on a Subaru. So that was really the big jumping point in the next level to ChampCar and what we should do. So.
Right. And so you're the proponent of race what you know.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So it doesn't matter really what it is. Just start by racing what you know.
Yep.
And then, so you raced that for a while. And you guys had you went through a lot of engines, went through a lot of downtimes with that car.
Yes.
And you just come off of downtimes with the Shadow.
Yes.
So I think that sometimes, especially a new team coming into the sport, probably doesn't realize that they may be faced with, challenges in their opening year, 2 years. It could take a while
to
get things sorted out. How did you handle that yourself with the challenges of, oh man, we got to go find an engine again. I wanted to be out there racing and I'm working on the car.
Yeah, so we'll step back a little bit. So when we got the Subaru, it had the 4-cylinder in it. We didn't really do much with it. We repainted it, we did some of the wiring, and we went out and raced. We raced a spring Road America race. Did pretty well there, and then we had some alternator issues, so that we fixed that. Went to Gingerman and actually got 7th and 8th place at Gingerman on the 4-cylinder. We found we were losing power in the straight. We could keep up with people and pass them in the corner, but we needed more power. That's what we thought, at least. So we decided to put the SVX 3.3 liter motor in. That's when the development really happened, because no one's ever endurance raced those things. So we just took one out of the junkyard, rewired the whole car, and went racing a VIR 24-hour race. Why not test a powerful car at VIR 24? Remember that was the event. It was downpouring and everything. It was just terrible time. But yeah, we started racing the 3.3, and it really needed more development. We had to rebuild the bottom end. We had to get the head kind of redone, rehoned, things like that. We had to put an AccuSump in because the baffling on the Subarus was terrible, and how much G's we were doing in the corners. That's we were blowing motors that way. I learned a lot. I think I probably put $10,000 into developing SVX motors, and then we don't run them anymore. So, but it was difficult at times because you go with your friends, you want to be on track racing, but you're in the pits most of the time anyway. So the thing about going forward, I guess, is always there's always a chance to win the race no matter where you're at from the start. There's always a chance that the leader's going to break. There's always a chance that you can get back on track and drive the track you want. The biggest thing for us is we want to go have fun and drive the tracks we want in the United States, and we've done that. So
you decided to move to the BMW. That was like 2015 or something.
Yeah, fall of 2015. Yeah. So the Watkins Glen race, that was for the championship. I think that was 2015 when there was snow. So I was sick and tired of working on the Subaru. So I said, what car is finishing most of the races? E30s. I'll go to the E30 then. So I found one for sale. We did an M50 swap right out of the gate on it because it was within the 500 points at that point. Went to Watkins Glen, and on like the first 10 laps, issues bit us right again. We spent the whole day trying to figure out what was going on. It ended up being a bad computer from the start.
Okay.
Put a new computer in, and we were out running on Sunday and having a lot of fun. And that's the point where I'm like, this car can be fast. It just needs some development on it. So that's really the 2016 season really started to whereas, hey, I think we can be pretty competitive in this series. So yeah, that's the 4 years. So
Yeah.
that's a long time to develop 3 cars, or not develop, but run 3 cars to find success. So
It seemed like that next year, I think it was 2016.
Yep.
It was like from the very beginning when we were at Mid Ohio, even though Saturday was snowed out.
yeah,
You pulled this car out of the barn, and you weren't even thinking about racing.
No.
That weekend. You just decided, at the last minute, I'm just going to bring it.
yep.
And you finished like 3rd or something.
Yeah, so it was March. It was 2 weeks before the race. I said, hey, this is a great test day. It's cheap. It was with a different series. I found 2 guys who were like, hey, I'll pay you money. Let's go race Mid Ohio. One guy wanted some track time before he was on for Pirelli. Then the other guy, Evan Horner, who you interviewed last time, I said, hey, let's do this. So I put the car together, and we were out racing 2 weeks, and we ended up finishing 5th overall and 3rd in class. And we lost because we did a splash and go at the end. We would have got 2nd in class and 4th overall, but we had to do a splash and go at the end. But we finished in front of M3s and in front of other class cars that should have been faster than us, but we were just consistent, and the car did great.
Yeah. So then you went from there. You did a lot of racing that year.
Yeah, it went from there to Watkins Glen. We did go to Watkins Glen that year. That was a tough race. I mean, Friday we found out we had an axle issue, then we had brake problems, but we were still in 8th place on Saturday with like the 25th fastest time, and we were moving up, and then we got hit and had an incident. And then Sunday we had the radiator issue. We had a hole in the radiator, which caused the engine to overheat. So then I had 2 weeks to find an engine and get ready for Gateway.
So you find an engine, you slam it in there, you go to Gateway, you're staying after it.
Yeah, and then Gateway, we finished the weekend 1st overall. We did the sprints. I think we were 3rd overall with EC, including EC. 1st on Saturday night for the Enduro, and then Sunday we got 1st again. So that was, it felt good. It felt relieved to get the 1st win.
Yeah.
It didn't take me as long as Bill Strong. So, but it felt good to get the 1st win out of the way and prove to myself and to the people in the series that we're fast. We're not just here to hang out, party, have fun, but we are competitive. So.
Well, and some people would say it's one thing to win a race like a heavyweight champion. It's one thing to get the title. It's another thing to back it up.
Right.
And later that year, you go to Laguna Seca and race a race that is stacked field.
Yep.
Packed. What was it, like a Friday or a Saturday?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday event.
You went out on Friday, was it? And
no, Thursday.
You went out on Thursday.
Yeah.
And won the race.
Yeah.
So you've already won. You did really well at Mid Ohio. You had trouble the next weekend. The next time you went racing at Watkins, and then you picked up hardware at Gateway, and then now you go to Laguna Seca and win.
Yeah.
How do you? Were you in the lead when you got in the car?
Yeah.
Take it out the last stint.
There's like 2 laps. I had 2 laps, and that's when we had MOV issues on the weekend. So they're like, "Hey, just kind of like do 2-minute laps." I'm like, "I'm at Laguna Seca for the first time. You're telling me I can only do 2-minute laps? Like, this is like one of the most historic tracks in the United States." I'm like, "I want to see what this car can do." They said, "No, just go like 2-minute laps." And so I was in the lead. I wanted all my rental drivers to get in first, let them experience. And I said, "Hey, if we're in the winning at the end of the race, or with my stint to go, I'd love to bring home the checkers." And that's how all the dominoes fell to be able to do that. So that was a great race. I mean, we had 3 guys of the 4 never seen Laguna Seca before.
Right.
One guy, I mean, we did have a pro in there, but it wouldn't have mattered who was in the car. But I think it's pretty amazing. You get a group of 4 guys. One person's only seen the track and 3 other people, and go out and win your first time there. I mean, that's awesome.
So when you got in the car and they were telling you hold back on the lap times a little bit, what was your approach when you got in the car, though, emotionally, mentally? Like what were you thinking when you got in the car and hit it out?
Don't screw it up. I mean, that's the biggest thing I was saying, is like, we have a 2-lap lead. Don't get a black flag. Just be cautious and stay out of trouble. That's really and it's just like, hey, try to hit those target times. Try to learn the track for then the rest of the weekend and hit your marks. You can go slow, but you can still not hit your marks and maybe screw up for the rest of the weekend. So it's more or less, hey, where's your braking points? Where's your turn-in? And really learn the track for the rest of the weekend, to be competitive. So
when you came out of turn 11 and you were heading up the straight and you saw the flagger leaning out over the stand giving you that 1 to go.
Yeah.
And you went underneath that bridge.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind as you drove that final lap to pick up that checker?
So we already knew we were going to win because we were ahead 2 laps. And I pretty much said, I was pretty emotional because I said, this is like an iconic win. This is a very historic track. Pretty much just relieved and just, it proved a point that, like I said, we're still competitive in the series. We can go and be competitive in the West, the East, the Midwest, and we're a top contending team, and that just proved it. And it was just, I was pretty happy because I had my wife out, my fiance at the time. I had a really good friend out there. My dad wasn't there.
Your dad wasn't there.
He wasn't there because he flew in. But I had a lot of like my close racing friends there, so it was just a really fun time, and it was awesome.
Right. Are you in favor of this car that you bought? Was already a race car when you bought it?
Yes, it was already caged. It didn't have a motor though.
So are you in favor of that? Go find a car that's already a race car, or if you had to do it over again, would you just start with a clean slate?
As a new person that doesn't know how to build a cage or whatnot, I recommend building a car. Or not build, sorry. For a new person that doesn't know how to build a roll cage and all the fab stuff, I recommend buying a car that's already caged and go out and just race it. Race it, get seat time, because that's the most valuable thing you can as a new racer is go get seat time. If I do it now, I'd build my own chassis. So I've got a E36 out in the other barn that it's already caged, but we get to do all the wiring, we get to do all the motor work, we get to do all the fab work, we get to do everything we want to it. So now in my stage, what I've learned, I would rather build a car, but that's after 6 years of doing this stuff.
But if you're just getting into it,
yeah,
there's something to be said for finding a good car that's already been prepped.
Go get it. Go get a cage Miata.
Go get a cage Miata.
Yeah.
Get in and start with that.
Yep.
And then why the Miata? Why do you think that's a good starting place?
So I didn't understand why people liked Miatas until Gingerman this year when we only had 4th gear and it's a momentum car. It really teaches you how to use the brakes very lightly, how to accelerate, and how to really learn how to carry speed around the track. So it's a great beginner car because it's not a lot of power. And if you can be competitive in it and then move up to a higher horsepower car, you're going to be way more competitive in this series than just starting high horsepower and relying on the horsepower than rather the driving skill.
Right.
So that's why I wish we would have started a Miata, to be honest.
So you've got this team, you've been developing it. You had some experience with the SCCA Fort Wayne region,
yep,
running the solo program, and then you throw your hat in the ring to be one of the board members of the ChampCar Endurance Series. And so Phil retires, and then you're brought in. What's that been like for you? What's your role there, and how are things going here as you're just getting started? Yeah,
so when the elections happened last year, I came in 3rd, and Mike calls me and says, "Hey, would you be interested in being an alternate?" I said, "Sure, that's fine." And then he's like, calls me in I think June. He's like, "Hey, you ready to become a board member?" I said, "Sure, that sounds great." So my whole goal was being a board member is to bring more sponsorship money into the series, and that's what I did with the SCCA. I brought sponsorship money into the series. In that organization, and that's what I think I could help with this series. So my goal is just trying to get new sponsorships for 2019, and then also I'm helping out with the tech advisory committee. Those guys are way smarter than I am. Everything goes above my head a lot, but there has to be 2 more board members on the committee. So I volunteered along with Rich, and so that's what I've been doing with my time as a short time as a board member, and we are getting very good traction on new sponsors for 2019. I'm very excited to announce a couple here, hopefully pretty soon. So
cool.
Yeah, so that's what I've been doing with my time.
So you're also renting seats for your team, so guys can come racing with you.
Yep.
And so they can go to your website. It's the crankyankers.com.
No, racecyr.com.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So we started out with we had a solid group of guys. We all bought into like a partnership. It really wasn't working because some guy would say, "Hey, I bought this clutch." Well, I bought this alternator. It just got to be a mess. Okay. So my wife and I've been running the team since 2014, 2013, just by myself. And then when my wife and I got married, she's been helping a lot too. So it's just her and I run the team, and then we have a couple people. Team Milan really helped me out this past year, and then GMS Racing. Those are two teams that really helped me out on getting the car ready and stuff. But as far as drivers go, yeah, we always are looking for new drivers, people we can develop and stay hopefully as a core group, and that's what I found to be best in ChampCar is if you can have a core group of drivers who are in like a second or two with each other, you're going to do pretty well every time. So.
Okay. All right. Well, Tyler, I want to say thanks for giving us some of your time.
Yeah.
Talk about your team and, of course, your new nomination to the board. So congratulations for that.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing what you're going to bring into ChampCar. I'm sure it's going to be great. And look forward to seeing you out there on the racetrack. When's your next race?
Paulie, we're going to be going to Road America.
Yeah.
That's in here in October, and then after Road America, we'll go to Sebring. We're making the tow down. So we're leaving Christmas night.
Yeah.
Gonna hang out in Tampa for a couple days and go to the race, and then go celebrate New Year's in St. Pete. So it'll be a fun time. Looking forward to ending the year on a good note, and then getting into 2019. So.
Cool. All right. Tyler, thanks again.
Thanks, Paulie. Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. Good luck out there.
Thanks.